Hayley Dream Smasher Smith might say she's a fun-loving, free-spirited champion of justice, but does this look just to you? Who cares if its scars are for life? I guess they weren't all blanks. Today, I'll be going through and ranking any and all of Hayley's crimes, from the flower-potted petty to the downright diabolical. The first crime on Hayley's rap sheet takes us to the episode She Will Survive. Basically, Stan wants Hayley to start fending for herself, so he starts charging her rent. To pay that rent, she's got a part-time job as a bartender, where she befriends Stan's boss, Bullock. But I insist. It's okay, why not? Don't get too drunk, Avery. I know you're a guy with a lot of secrets. She gets the sauce pretty hard in her first shift, and whenever Bullock is in the bar, he's keen to feed her drinks. Touching the love your mind. I'm just gonna gloss over the end there. Stan has basically put her up to speak with his boss so he can find out all of Bullock's secrets to work his way up the CIA ladder, but it's taken its toll on Hayley. Hayley? I knew this was a mistake. I'm responsible. She's now a full-blown alcoholic and spends all of her time trying to find the solutions to her problems at the bottom of a bottle of whiskey. Things are soon taken one step further, though, when she drunkenly takes Roger's car out for a spin. I guess she's crashed into the best place for her. But, doesn't excuse the whole drunk driving thing. It's a little bit weird, but you can actually be a bartender without being able to legally drink, and as Hayley isn't 21, this would be classified as underage drinking. She'd probably not face jail time for this, but would get a $500 fine for her troubles. However, the DUI is far more serious. She'd easily get 6 months inside, as well as being slapped with a fine worth $25,000 for the damage caused to the entrance to rehab, the sign outside, and of course, Roger's car. But surely she's learned her lesson from all this, right? One of the last things you'd imagine Hayley doing is hurting an animal. I mean, she's all about peace and nature and all that stuff, so I can tell you I was at least shocked to find out she's not only an animal abuser, but she's an animal killer. Like when she impales some innocent doves with a knife when trying to attack her father. Dang, aren't doves supposed to be the universal symbol of peace, too? Turns out the warning signs of this behavior was already there, because after a boy dumped her in elementary school, she killed the class hamster. The autopsy showed the hamster was pregnant. It was pregnant? If this is a sign of things to come, then Hayley could be one of the most messed up characters I've ever covered. There's another instance of an animal losing its life thanks to Hayley, but I guess it isn't exactly all her fault. It's from the time when Stan is following the tracking device he bought to find Hayley. Hayley's dot hasn't moved in the last 20 minutes. You don't think she's having... No, if her body temperature rises, the dot turns purple. I paid extra for that option. I can also explode her breasts at any time. It takes them to a gas station where, just watch, man. It turned purple. What? I don't get it. Ripped out her tracking device and fed it to one of these dogs. So she not only surgically removes her tracking device, she actually force feeds it to a defenseless animal, and thanks to her, this happens. That one. Well, I was able to reattach his legs. I think he's gonna make it. Oh, thank God. Like I said, I know she didn't mean for the dog to die, but she more than played her part, that's for sure. It's kind of sad that hurting and killing animals doesn't carry anywhere near the penalties of doing the same thing to humans. Hayley would be staring down a 4-year stretch for this killing spree, but at least her pocket would feel the consequences of her action. She'd be looking at $30,000 in fines for the full 6 animals, as well as a lifetime ban on ever owning a pet. For a new age hippie, Hayley has a nasty habit of losing her cool, like when she tackles a man named Kazim to the ground because he lied about being a terrorist. Isn't that a good thing? Shawarma King, get your shawarma. Hazim? Hayley, he tricked you into thinking he was the terrorist. Lead up. He does that with all the American girls. Shawarma? It's also heavily hinted that she beats him to a pulp, too. This girl is not to be messed with, especially when she's singing a song. Get away from me. This is a peaceful protest. Then there's the time she literally beats the snot out of Stan because he's trying to control her. Basically, she's getting married to some guy from France and Stan isn't a happy bunny, but I don't think he was expecting this. His beating doesn't end there, though. Like a prime T-1000, Hayley's right on his tail. Maybe the CIA got the wrong number of the Smith family on their books. Ooh, right in the Golden Globes. Come on, Hayley, the man's had enough. I don't think she's gonna listen to me then. Man, she's lethal. I won't spoil what happens at the end of this episode just yet because there are a few more crimes that happen just after this brawl, so stay tuned. For now though, we got 3 pretty strong cases against Hayley for assault. She'd be looking at 30 days in jail for the guitar, 3 months for what she did on and off screen to Kazim, and for the all-out attack on her dad, well, I'd say she'd easily pick up 5 years behind bars, as well as picking up a fine of $75,000. So all in all, that's 5 years and 4 months of hard time for Hayley. I wouldn't want to be her cellmate, the hits for sure. The next crime on Hayley's charge sheet brings us to the episode of 100 AD, where she's having to deal with Jeff being a little clingy after a recent breakup. I want to touch butts with you. I'm gonna shoot him in the throat. Stan, wait! No hard feelings or anything, she just wants a little space. That doesn't stop Jeff, though, who's determined to win her back and follows her to college to give things one last try. Ah, yeah, being secretly followed. The thing all girls want. I told you, I know you don't want to see me, but I need to tell you something. And then, if you want, I'll leave you alone forever. So the thing you wanted to ask her is basically, will you run away with me to get married? Yeah, some classic Romeo and Juliet stuff. Or in this case, Groovio and Flowerette. Okay, yeah, that's not my best word. Anyway, I'm sure it'll be fine. Stan won't be mad or anything. Dear Mom and Dad, I realized I'm still in love with Jeff Fisher. Decided to elope. Yeah, I'd say he took that well. Once Stan cools down, he and Francine come up with a way to track their daughter down. Basically, they saved 50 grand for when Hayley did meet the right person and wanted to get married, so they used that nest egg as a reward for anyone who tracks you down and stops this wedding. 4 hours ago, my daughter Hayley Smith eloped with notorious slacker Jeff Fisher. I'm offering $50,000 to anyone who can stop the wedding, and that reward is 50 grand to anyone who can stop the wedding of Hayley Smith and Jeff Fisher. Things aren't exactly all lovey-dovey with Hayley and Jeff, though. Hayley's kind of gotten annoyed that he hasn't gotten a better plan for them after they're married. But we need a plan we can both be excited about. A new plan. New Mexico. Whilst Hayley's off clearing her head, Jeff switches on the TV and hears Stan's offer of 50 grand if their wedding is called off. He wants to tell Hayley and the two hatch a new plan to take advantage of Stan and Francine. $100 bills. Hello, President Shakespeare. You'll find Hayley at the Chimdale Mountain Inn. Obviously, Hayley's in on the deal, and the whole idea is to scam her parents have their hard-earned cash. She even turns on the crocodile tears for them. Talking about, he took the money, Hayley. He's no good. I'm sorry, honey, but it's better you'll find out now. I guess you guys are right. All before slinking off to meet her new husband, who's $50,000 richer. Love you, baby. I love you too, babe. This, my friends, is a full-blown fraud and would land Hayley in serious hot water. Right off the bat, she'd be getting at least 8 years in the slammer for this stunt, as well as a mandatory fine of double the amount she defrauded. So that's a near decade in jail and a 100 grand fine for marrying this guy. I wanted to take you out to dinner to celebrate your efforts to impregnate my daughter. That's not that much of an effort, Mr. S. I just lie on top of her and flop around like a fish. Yikes, guys, things are not looking good for Hayley already. We barely started, and she's already racked up an impressive 17 years and 10 months worth of jail time, and that's without discussing the $205,500 she's got to pay in damages and fines. Well, if you think that's bad, just you wait, because I promise you Hayley Smith is going away for a very, very long time. It only gets worse from here. This is where things start to ramp up for Hayley. A little bit of fraud is just the start for her. In the episode of Finances with Wolves, things get a little more explosive. It all starts when Hayley finds out that the Langley Falls Mall is getting an extension, which will tear down a nearby wooded area, which is home to all the lovely animals. Okay, less lovely, more stompy, but you get where I'm going with that. Hayley's obviously outraged by the greedy fat cats who own the mall, so she tries to put together a protest where she meets a tree who wants to fight back. I am Arboreus. I was born a tree trapped in a man's body. But I'm fixing that. I've already had the chlorophyll injections, and I found a surgeon in Sweden who's agreed to replace my testes with acorns. Is it me, or is this guy barking mad? Don't worry, I got more where that came from. Hayley looks past Arboreus' obvious insanity and decides to fight alongside him in a war for the trees. That makes you sound like the Lorax. While expansion goes through, hundreds of trees will be slaughtered. To prove you're dedicated to our cause, you must first make out with a tree. Friend here thinks you're really cute. What a sad. Well, after that weird initiation, Hayley and the gang head to the mall to carry out their plan, and something tells me it won't be a peaceful protest. Nobody move! I've got a bomb! That's right, Arboreus' plan all along was to blow the mall to bits. Kind of defeats the object of keeping the surrounding areas safe, but clearly this guy has some deep-rooted issues. Boreas, this is crazy. Oh, I'll show you crazy. Hayley starts to take fate into her own hands by attacking the plant-potted psycho. You doing? You almost killed my parents! I've been potted. It doesn't really make up for joining and literally helping a terrorist group carry out their plans, though. Hayley would be charged with aiding and abetting terrorism just by being associated with the flower-powered group. Sure, the law would be kinder to her because she didn't know their true motives, so the damage and near deaths caused by the act cannot go unpunished. So for helping Arboreus, Hayley would be super fortunate to get anything less than a full 10 years in prison. She'd also be fined a small portion of the overall damage, so her share would probably come to around 35 grand. We've already had one type of fraud. Now it's time to take a look at when Hayley teamed up with her brother Steve to go into the fake ID business. It all started after Hayley ran into an old friend at the restaurant Boober's. Wonder what they're trying to parody here. Hey, welcome to Boober's, where we got a double D from the health department. Zoe? Hayley! Zoe invites Hayley out with some other old friends for a night on town. Only problem is, they're all 19, and to get into the bars, they need to be over 21. Luckily, the girls all have fake IDs, all apart from Hayley, that is. Go to Kevin Ramage. He'll make you one for $200. Plus, you gotta make out with him. Can't afford $200. I guess we'll catch you later then. You were right. She was too optimistic. Wanting to save her night, Hayley tries to speak with Steve about getting a fake ID of her own. To say how impressed I was with your federal booby inspector card, and I was wondering if you could maybe do a fake driver's license for me. I thought I was a loser. You know who the real losers are, Steve? The ones who stay angry after being called losers. Hey, I'll do it. Steve comes up with the goods and Hayley heads out to get her night back on track. There's another hurdle though. All the other girls' IDs come back is fake. But Steve's ID works like a charm, so she takes the girls back to her house to have more IDs rustled up. But for once, Steve wants to do the right thing. What you're suggesting could get us in deep trouble. You're selling fake IDs to teenagers. You won't get in trouble. I mean, with your talent and my distribution network, do you know how much money we could make? With Steve on her side, Hayley starts selling his IDs by the dozen, racking in the dough. These IDs are unlike anything anyone's ever seen and soon attract the attention of the CIA, and you'll never guess who gets put on the case. Very important case. Some master forger named Gutenberg is making fake IDs. To be as nervous as you two look right now. All I have to do is bait the trap. Master Bay. Ho ho! Almost myself there. I'm sure all the Breaking Bad fans out there will enjoy the name Gutenberg. With their dad sniffing around, Steve wants out, but Hayley talks him into keeping the operation going, and it nearly costs them everything. What are you doing here? I was just walking home for dinner when somebody jumped me, threw a bag over my head, and shoved me in Jeff's van. Wait a minute, what did your kidnapper say? You're Guten Colder, and it might be a Gut ID, for you to give up. Steve's quick thinking saves their skin this time, but at the docks, he ain't so lucky. Put your hands up! You want Gutenberg alive? You let us go. It's not Gutenberg. I am. You're Gutenberg? Yes, Dad. I used Steve to make money. It comes clean and the CIA arrests her and throws her in jail for the next 10 years. Looks like my job's done. Oh, wait a sec. The next 10 years. See you when I'm 29. You mean yesterday? Guard! Thanks, little brother. Fine. If you want something done, you better do it yourself. Hayley's in-show sentence of 10 years for forgery is probably a little lenient. If this happened in real life, I'd expect her to be getting at least 15 years, and that's without even talking about the money she made. According to a few sources, the rough estimated profit she and Steve made was around 42 grand, and if we apply the usual fraud and forgery rule of a fine being double the amount, that comes out to $84,000. The next crime on our list brings us to the episode Stanny Get Your Gun, where Stan is trying to convince Hayley that guns are actually pretty cool. How is this teaming with guns? Guns kill. Is that right? Well, let's see about that. Okay, gun, kill. Go ahead, kill someone. Guns defend people against people with smaller guns. You're such a fascist. Hey, I didn't say be good at it. Stan then decides to go a softer route by introducing his daughter to the world of firearms by taking her to a gun amusement park. G.A. land? A gun park? You're out a bullet through a mugger's chest. But she just uses it as a chance to push her own agenda. Guns make holes in your body. That means mom could steal much grass. Tupac would be tapping. If you hate, this little stunt gets them both kicked out of the NGA, and Stan is furious. So he comes up with a little plan to push Hayley to the point of no return. Dad? Just take what you want and go. Like, get the gun in the china cabinet. Like, murderer! Just kidding, you saved the family, kiddo. Pizza? Let's order pizza. That's right, that burglary was 100% staged. And when Hayley sees the body being loaded in an ambulance, she knows that she's being played. Thought I killed someone. You thought you killed someone. Before you said guns kill, not people. I win. Someone could have been hurt. Relax, they're just blanks. You all know where this is going. Who cares if it's scars or for life? I guess they weren't all blanks. Call a real ambulance. Stan isn't fatally injured, but the bullet ends up getting lodged in his spine, rendering him a quadriplegic. After being brutally shot by his daughter, Stan does a complete 180 on guns and decides to go along with his daughter to an anti-gun concert. Bammy's mom could steal much grass. Tupac would be tapping us if you hate guns. Wow, if the hot girl doesn't like guns, I guess I don't either. The NDA hate that an anti-gun message is so popular and decides to put a hit out on Hayley. It's a good thing that Stan is a trained CIA agent because he smells the danger and puts himself on the line for his daughter. Luckily for Stan though, this shot has the exact same opposite as the last. See, the second bullet passed through your neck and pushed the first bullet out. Good is that to a man who has to spend the rest of his life in a chair. This isn't the only time Hayley has fired a weapon at her father though, as in the episode Hayleyus, she has no problem opening fire on him. Basically, Stan was trying to make the perfect obedient girl and ended up turning Hayley into a sleeper agent who wants to kill her handler. Wait, stop! Congratulations, Mr. Teddy Bonkers was your handler and you killed him. She also does pull the trigger on Stan after this and they declare him legally dead for like 6 minutes. If both these counts happen in the real world, she gets slapped with an aggravated assault charge, mainly due to the fact in the first instance she didn't intend to shoot her dad, and in the second she was under the influence of brainwashing. But this level of damage obviously cannot be ignored. She'd easily be getting 5 years for the accidental shooting of her dad with a further 12 years for the shotgun and a pistol attack on him, so that's 17 years of her life wasting away in the slammer. I'm sure there's a gun-related moral to this story, but I'll leave that for you guys to work out. Maybe it's about the guns we fought along the way. Look, we all know that Hayley's got a fiery personality, and yes, that does include her starting the literal fires, but in the episode of Pulling Double Booty, she takes that to a whole new level. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird episode. Jeff has dumped Hayley and her newfound rebound has a familiar face. Whoa, it's not what you think. Basically, the guys she's getting all touchy-feely with is Bill, Stan's CIA body double. Still pretty messed up, though. Poor Francine don't know that, so when she regains consciousness, she heads for her husband. It also doesn't help that Stan thinks that she's talking about the cookie dough he's been eating. Bastard, how could you? It's just so sweet and tempting. You're sick. Come on, you're overreacting. Roger does it too. Yeah, I've stuck my fingers in there. You'd think Stan would be horrified that his daughter is dating a carbon copy of himself, but no, he just takes it as some bizarre compliment. He's a perfect specimen for her. Look at his powerful, devoted shoulders, his strong, reliable chin. I guess that answers the age-old question of what would you do if you met a clone of yourself? I'm not sure motorboating would be at the top of my list, but whatever. Stan's bubble is about to be burst though, with thanks to Bill trying to on Francine. Hop in and... Hey, there he is. How's it going, big guy? Well, when you were talking about how hot your wife was, I realized you were right. So I decided to nail her before I nailed your daughter. I mean, he's being honest at least. Stan obviously sees the red and shucks Bill out of the house and tells him to never step foot on Cherry Street again. But now he and Francine are left with a pretty big problem. What do they tell Hayley? The love of her life tried to sleep with her mother. She'll go on a rampage and they'll lock her up. Hey, have you guys seen Bill? We're supposed to go on our romantic weekend and he's half an hour late. You better hope Bill shows up. You don't even know. Why isn't he here? I'd pay attention to those matches if I were you. Anyway, to calm her down, Stan and Francine come up with the not-so-brilliant idea of Stan pretending to be Bill. They're going for the classic be mean to her and get her to break up with him angle. So the pair head off on that big romantic weekend. Problem is with this plan, though, this is the weekend that Hayley and Bill are meant to, finally going all the way. Doing it. Someone's at the door. I don't care. We're doing it. After a not-so-successful attempt at getting Hayley to break things off, a fancy dinner awaits the pair, and Stan ups the ante with his daughter. Not like that, though. Waitress, she is hot. What are you talking about? A waitress. I'm checking her out. I'd like to take her back to our room and have her on your clothes. But once again, Hayley's down for anything. Yeah, you could do her, then I could do you, then I'll take a turn with her while you watch. Stan's clearly in over his head and has no choice but to stand Hayley up. He goes missing in the forest to get away from her, but like a bad smell, she just keeps on coming back. It's only when she tries phoning her dad that the curtain falls on Stan's plan. Believe me, it was in the nick of time, too. Dad? Well, look at my book. Is it a warehouse item? 5 minutes. Dad, you're talking to me on the phone. Are you kidding me? Oh, and this is why I told you to remember the matches. If you want to tear one of those out, the serious collector keeps his matchbooks intact. Oh, now it's worthless. Just like Hayley's love life, the entire forest goes up in flames. So yeah, this is a pretty open and shut case of arson, and it's a very serious crime. Add in the fact that this is totally premeditated too, she's gonna go away for a very long time here. You're talking 20 years in the can for this one, as well as a gigantic $675,000 fine for the damage to the environment. But hey, you know what they say. If you play with fire, you're gonna get burned. Despite her last crime, this is where things really start heating up for Hayley. In the episode of Blonde Ambition, Hayley is sick of brain-dead blondes pretending to care about the same activism that she cares about, especially when everyone pays attention to the blonde girl. I'd like to hear more. I don't have to hear more. Oh, Sam, whatever you got, beautiful. We line up on that side for the petitions and behind me to touch the hair. That's the final straw for Hayley, and she decides that she's going blonde. She must want weird men to sniff her hair. Yes, I can work with. I hope you're up for some fun, Blondie. Did it so that people would pay more attention to what I have to say. Oh, yeah, of course, that's what I meant. Roger takes Hayley under his wing and finds a celebrity charity event for the pair to go to so she can make an impression and worm her way into the right crowd. One thing leads to another, and Hayley is invited to a solar-powered yacht party hosted by DJ Iron Monkey, but he's not exactly as charitable as she'd hoped. Did you find any chicks for the party? Yeah, some blonde from Virginia. She's buying into all that charity crap, so if you want to get with her, just ask her about her causes. The seedy DJ takes Hayley back for a private drink where he shows her his special table. It's one solid 800-pound piece of cork. The shipbuilder really didn't want me to put this in the hull. I feel some heavy foreshadowing coming on here, and you don't have to wait long, especially when Hayley finds out that the yacht isn't exactly solar-powered after all. Oh my god, whales! Oh my god. Slave whales. In a fit of blind rage at how much he's been lied to, Hayley pulls the plug in the party with the help of Francine and Roger. Did something to help the Earth. Well, the fact you've sank an entire yacht isn't great for the ecosystem, but then it goes and does this. Billy! The oil spill dyed your hair back to normal. Everything worked out. Yeah, since when did releasing thousands of gallons of oil into the sea hurt anybody? Talking of bodies, where are the people who were on the yacht? This one's gonna cost her, all right. She didn't intend on killing the 27 people aboard the yacht, but she's 100% the reason they die. In a real court of law, she'd be charged with manslaughter and be sentenced to, at the very least, 10 years per person. Now, here's the real kicker. The charge of environmental terrorism, just for the sheer volume of oil that's being pumped into the ocean, she can expect another 20 years on top of her final sentence. That's nothing compared to the fine she'll have to pay, though. BP was fined $65 billion for its oil spill in 2014, and Hayley's is about half that size. Taking into account it was an accident that she's a person rather than a company, she'd be staring down at least a $10 billion fine. Completely manageable for an individual. So her nautical nonsense has earned her 290 years behind bars with an eye-watering $10 billion to fetch. You better hit up Steve again and get back into the fake ID business pronto. So at the end of the crime-filled day, Hayley Smith would be one delusional hippy-dippy to think she'd be let off with anything less than 369 years and 10 months behind bars, as well as a purse-punching $10.09 billion to pay in fines. To put that into perspective, by the way, that's more money than 35 countries have around the world. For someone trying to do so much right, Hayley couldn't help herself from doing so much wrong. Is she truly evil? I mean, who knows? But I do know that you do want to see someone else get exactly what they deserve. So go on, click the video on screen now. You know you want to. Thanks for watching.